Hellions issue 5 heads 2 days into the past, where Charles oversees the resurrection of Empath, who is angry and confused, fleeing his pod's goo at Charles, who knows he isn't going to try and confront another newborn mutant again. Charles leaves Hope to deal with Empath, who only remembers getting on a transport to Nebraska. Hope knows that that's the last time Cerebro backed him up, not knowing what happened after that since she doesn't really care. Empath says that she's doing a terrible job, but Hope wishes that he would show some gratitude since she did just bring him back to life. Frustrated, Hope leaves, as the man asks where the crowd is that usually cheers for new rebirths, but Hope thinks it's best he leaves out the back door. Empath spits on the floor, angering Hope even more, as in the present, Charles tells the council so much has gone on and so much has gone wrong at once, with Apocalypse being mortally wounded, the external gate being sealed, and Rockslide's mutilation undoing the safety net of resurrection. Exodus knows Krakoa is bending, as Nightcrawler wonders if partaking in this contest of swords means they lose more than they gain. Emma agrees, knowing that they are no good being in charge of a fractured state, and Kate agrees, knowing they need to do something. Mr. Sinister eagerly agrees with Kate, wondering what would happen if they deny the Arakko the privilege of collecting the swords, and what if the Hellions lie, cheat and steal until all of Arakko's swords are theirs. Emma knows that this would force a forfeit on Arakko's side, and Sinister says that they would win without spilling a drop of Krakoan blood. He wants to call a vote, and Charles and Eric don't support such a plan, but the council still needs to vote on the matter. The council vote and Sinister's plan wins, prompting Exodus to proclaim that the Hellions will march on Arakko and take their swords, with Mr. Sinister leading the charge. Sinister isn't too pleased about that part, with the council voting if he should go, but the vote doesn't pass, making Sinister relieved, saying that he would need Havoc, gloating to Eric about how he follows his daughter around like a lost puppy. Eric decides to change his vote, forcing Mr. Sinister to lead the Hellions from the front and not from the council room. At the Hellions staging theatre, the team is told of their mission to steal the swords and how they will break every rule put forth by Lady Opal, and if they are found at any point, that could mean the end of their world. Havoc knows that that's not the only bad news, revealing what happened to Rockslide's backup when he came back from the other world last time, meaning they won't be able to be resurrected if they die. He tells Greycrow Empath will be joining them, confusing Orphan Maker since Greycrow shot the mutant in the head last time they saw him. Nanny calms the confused Orphan Maker as Greycrow tells the kid how resurrection works and how it doesn't really matter anyway, and they won't know the difference. Havoc calms the team, reiterating that if any of them die, no one comes back. At Bar Sinister, Mr. Sinister talks with one of his clones, telling them everything he knows about Arakko and the contest and the Hellions' plans, since he plans on sending the clone in his place. The clone thinks the real Sinister is going, giving him permission to, but Sinister tells the clone that if he doesn't want to be a team leader, then he can just be put back on ice. The clone threatens to expose the illegal clone farm Sinister has in the basement, but Sinister demands he get in the incinerator if he does so. The two continue to argue until they decide to settle it with a good old game of scissors, paper, rock. At the Avalon Gate, the Hellions assemble as Empath demands to know if Greycrow shot him in the head. The killer says he did, and if the mutant tries to get in his or any of the other team members' heads again, he will cut him in half. Mr. Sinister arrives, surprising Psylocke, who learns that he is accompanying them. Sinister says he won't just be accompanying them, he'll be leading them as their general, and his favoritism will be rampant and arbitrary. The team head through the gate to find Jamie Braddock's caught in chaos as the horse Princess Silkmane is panicking, its handler unable to calm the beast. Jamie compliments Sinister's cape as the mutant asks the king for entrance into Avalon. Jamie says that he cannot pass, since Lady Opal will not be pleased and his fun would have to come to an end. Sinister slyly says that he seeks to preserve the king's secret special fun, and Jamie waves off his servants, allowing Sinister to whisper in his ear that a mutant dies for good in the other world, and he thought that may be important to someone whose rule has been called unsafe. Jamie thinks that maybe his servants have been talking out of turn, as Sinister says that he can help the king if he gives them passage, offering up a black market clone for the king. Jamie is more than happy with the arrangement, allowing the entrance into Avalon as he gifts them the horse, but the mutant doesn't want her. Orphan Maker, however, wants the pony, but Sinister says a horse is a major responsibility. Jamie says responsibilities are a slog, remembering his responsibility to report any suspicious travelers, demanding that they take the gift. Sinister is left with no other choice, asking what the king wants in return. Later, the team is let through, but Sinister has to give up his cape to do so. Mr. Sinister doesn't want to talk about losing the cape, reminding random passerbys realize that he used to wear a cape. Psylocke thinks that they should get some more horses so they don't attract too much attention, as they are stopped by some priestesses who know that they have transgressed against Lady Opal. Sinister tries to explain why they are there, but the guards call him a japer, telling him to shut up and proclaiming that they stand in possession of stolen property, pointing out Princess Silkmane and how they clearly stole the horse from Jamie. Sinister knows that Jamie betrayed them, telling Empath to use his powers to nudge the guards a little. Empath, however, isn't interested in doing that since he hates the whole team and resents being there with them, hoping Opal kills them all. Havoc tells him that if Opal finds out about them, they will be disqualified and Earth and Krakoa will be destroyed. But again, Empath just doesn't care. However, Sinister asks if maybe he could buy the man's services. Empath knows how they can, wanting Grey Crow as his pet. As the guards come for them, Sinister agrees, so Empath uses his powers on the killer, getting him to calm down and call Empath one radiant soul. His powers also work on the guards as well, prompting them to ask if the travelers need anything for their journey. Sinister says that he could use some more horses and a new cape, and upon getting everything and anything they need, the team head into the mountains. Empath tells Grey Crow to run along ahead of them since he doesn't get a horse, causing the mind-controlled man to run gleefully ahead of the Hellions, proclaiming that Empath is a genius. Psylocke knows that this will end badly, but Sinister knows they all end badly, riding off into the sunset. Hellions issue 5 was a very fun installment to the otherwise serious X of Swords event, adding in some much needed levity as Krakoa's worst set out on a mission to undermine the contest and end it before it even begins. I really enjoyed how different in tone this was compared to, say, the Wolverine or the Marauders issues that came before this issue, with Zeb Wells really writing a funny Mr. Sinister. I very much enjoyed Mr. Sinister here, and how his need to have a cape and kind of cowardly weasel his way out of leading the team. It was all really great stuff. I'm really looking forward to the team's mission on Otherworld, as well as if their plan actually ends up working, which I don't think it will end up working, but I don't think they're going to get caught either. But maybe the event will surprise us and we never actually get the sword fight that they've all been preparing for. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10.